mystery box challenge time, and this one is super special for me because, one, I always, of course, love doing the mystery box challenge, but this one is going to be premiering on my birthday. So if you're watching this, please be sure leave me a happy birthday, and I would appreciate that. So my box came from Lisa, the Dollar Mom, and she sent me some goodies. I can already see here at the top of the box, and I got my cheat sheet over here. So this April mystery box challenge, the theme is springtime, and there's a lot of spring things in here. And then the twist, I'm reading off my cheat sheet again, the twist is that it must include something from outdoors with one of the challenge items. So we're gonna see, and it looks like I've got a challenge item wrapped up here. So first item that I was sent is reindeer moss, and I love working with reindeer moss. So we had some required items, so let me go through those real quick. The required items were a flower pot, gardening tool, anything wood, floral item, moss, yarn, and then a piece of clothing, and then the twist, and then 3 items are sender's choice. So moss, obviously we've already got one. Here's some yarn. I got some yellow yarn. This is fun. Ooh, and she tagged it too for me. Something wood. Look at this cute, adorable tray. It looks like it came from Goodwill. It looks like Noah's Ark. That is going to be fun to DIY with, and gosh, I've already got an idea actually for that, so I'm not too worried about it. This is a sender's choice. I love how she labels everything. So cute. Something metal there. That's a sender's choice item. There might be a note in here. I don't know. Maybe not. Oh yeah, there is. Of course there is. Let's go ahead and read that first. I'm like that kid, you know, at Christmas time that just kind of jumps right in and doesn't read the tag. My mom would always yell, "Read the tag!" All right, so first of all, how cute is this? And it's got this like little wrap thing, and you undo it, and then there's the note. How cute. All right, so hey Jamie, I got to send you a box again. It wasn't as nice this time. Hopefully you enjoy the challenge. Let's still be friends. Lisa, what? I don't even know what to think, especially because I've already seen some stuff and I think they're kind of cool. So maybe I don't think you're cool. What does that say? Does it say hello? So sender's choice, a metal sign that says hello. Looks like a little flower there. So that's cute. Right, I guess this is the garden tool. You know what? I'm not afraid of this. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid. I'm a little afraid. Here's some flowers. Floral items, some little tulips. Those are cute. They look real. Oh, these are cute. The little mini pots. She labeled it pot. And these are the ones that are, it's a set of 2, and they stack on top of each other. So that's cute for $1.25. All right. And then I've got my challenge item. So piece of clothing challenge item. By the way, I sent my box over to Kristin Kay, and she sent me socks. I don't want to DIY with these. Look how cute they are. Monopoly socks. I think I'm gonna have to. Ooh, I may have bought some of these recently. I have a haul that I haven't filmed yet because I went to Virginia for work, and I might have bought these there. But if I didn't, I'll definitely be on the lookout because I'm supposed to DIY with them. So that's one of the piece of clothing items. That's a challenge item. And then this item, sender's choice. Ooh. Okay. It's a little saw. It's like a little toy saw. This one's a little more challenging, but you know what? I'm honestly not afraid of it. It's my birthday after all. All right, I'm gonna kind of marinate on these, figure out what I'm going to do with all of them, and I'll be back soon. All right, guys. All right, you guys, for this very first DIY, we're going to tackle this garden hose, kind of garden tool thing. And I was pretty stumped with this one at first. Then I remembered I did have this old kind of bucket fountain that was in the backyard. It has definitely seen better days, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of change this up a little bit. Now, first thing I'm going to do is just clean everything up really, really good and try and get as much of this dirt off of this. And this particular fountain, this one runs on a solar panel, which is what you see me kind of cleaning up here too. And again, I'm just kind of scrubbing this down with the hose, and it's not the hose attachment that came in my box, but we're going to go ahead and just again, clean everything up really, really well. I am rinsing off all the dirt and the mud and everything. This has been outside. It was filled with leaves and dirt and water, and we're just going to make it prettier. Now, I did also take a little bit of light soap and just kind of go through this and really scrub this one down and clean it up because it was pretty filthy, y'all. Look how gross that water is, and this is after I rinsed it 2 or 3 times. So this was a couple years worth of just muck that was on here. So after getting rid of that water, I did go ahead and just kind of spray everything else. It's funny, I did not clean the bottom of that, and I'm sure you guys noticed. So this particular fountain, this was a floating fountain before, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of unassemble things. Now, I do have this garden tool that I've got to use, and I want to keep it to where the handle is going to stay open all the time. So I'm just going to take a black zip tie and we're going to go right around the handle. That way it kind of forces the handle to stay open all the time. So all you have to do is basically squeeze the trigger on it to make it as if you were spraying water out of it. Put a zip tie around it, and as you can see, it holds up just fine. I did kind of trim away the excess zip tie there. Now, this particular fountain, I thought I had a longer tube with this one, but I don't. And the tube does not fit perfectly inside the spray handle, but I was able to get it to work still. If I could go out and get a tube or something, I will definitely do that and update this. So I've got some bricks. We're going to go ahead and just stack some bricks down in our bucket. And I just kind of put this at the bottom of my yard. My yard kind of slopes down a little bit, and I thought this would be really nice to just have a little water feature out in the back. I'm going to take these bricks, and I've got 3 of them, and I am just going to go ahead and just spray those off because there were some mud and some muck on those. And now I'm going to go ahead and take the handle off the hose because I'm going to fill up this bucket. Now, I originally just started spraying it. Then I realized I could be multitasking and doing multiple things here. So we're going to go ahead and crimp the hose here. And I'm going to go ahead and take that handle off because my yard is really, really long. And so the hose off button is at the other side. So while this bucket is filling up, I'm going to go ahead and restack some of those bricks and just kind of play around with this. And then I've got the pump that I did just set into the bucket there. And then I've got the solar panel that I need to make sure is going to be out in the sun. And I played around with it a couple different times. There's a lot of ivy and just kind of different plants, and you can see, I don't know what the plants are, that all kind of grow in this area. And so I wanted the solar panel to get lots of sun, but then also wanted this to be able to, not be covered up as things grow. And then for that handle, I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of really kind of squeeze it onto the end of the pump there. And then I just kind of propped it into place because of the way that the bricks were kind of helping. Again, if you had a longer plastic tube on the end of your fountain, you could easily do this and that would be a lot better. And then you wouldn't have to have the bricks kind of stacked in there like I do. Now, this is what it looks like when it's just with a little bit of the sun. I'm thinking that I could put some lily pads or something like that in there to kind of help camouflage some of the brick. And then also I could certainly just get a longer hose, and this would make it work really, really well. What do you guys think of this? Pretty cute, isn't it? All right, for this next one, I'm going to go ahead and take the yarn and we're going to tackle this. And then for this project, I'm going to be using these pom-pom makers. I'm going to use this larger one. You can get a couple different sizes at your local Dollar Tree. I've actually had these for a little while. And so I've got the larger one here. And I'm telling you, this was a little bit of a chore because I had no idea how to do this. So you're going to notice that your pom-pom maker kind of has these two kind of different sides to it. So go ahead and open one side, and then you're going to take your finger and just kind of hold the yarn down on the top here, and then you're going to start to wrap this. And I apologize that some of this is going to be off camera, but you'll see it's going to bounce kind of back and forth into the frame here. And all you're doing is just kind of wrapping that end. You're just wrapping the one side, and you are just going to continue to wrap this all around. And you can do this in a lot of different ways. You can make sure that it's perfectly aligned, or you can just kind of go free form the way that I'm doing. And what you want to do is you want to continue to wrap this until that kind of half circle at the bottom there is really starting to look more flat. It kind of reminds me of like a big fat worm or like a big fat caterpillar or something. And you are literally just going to keep wrapping and wrapping and wrapping. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the entire process here. I'm not speeding this up at all because I want you guys to be able to see this, because I actually had no idea how to do this. And I just kind of kept playing around with it. This was definitely some trial and error here. And I did watch some YouTube videos as well. And we are just going to continue to wrap this until you've got a nice, fat, kind of half shape here. And you will see, you will be shocked, because I didn't even think that this would actually work. So keep wrapping, keep wrapping, keep wrapping until you do get this kind of nice and thick. And then once you've got it to the thickness that you like, you are going to simply cut the yarn. I know that sounds crazy. You're going to fold it over like you see me doing here, and then you're just going to go ahead and clip the yarn. You don't have to tie it in a knot. You don't have to do anything. Then you're going to open the other side, and you are going to repeat the same exact process. You are going to go ahead and hold that down with your finger, and then you are just going to start to wrap and wrap and wrap. And one thing that I did do is, as I was wrapping the yarn and kind of going back and forth, I did end up kind of wrapping the part where I was holding the yarn down with my finger, which did help kind of hold that in place, which was great. So again, you're just going to continue to wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap until you've got almost like a half circle shape. It's actually really cool. And just kind of keep going through that process, keep wrapping around. Again, I'm not going to shorten this video at all or speed this up, because I really want you to be able to see exactly what is involved here, as long as I kind of stay within frame. And then once you do kind of keep wrapping that, you're going to make sure that, you know, all of it is staying within that kind of half shape. I ended up kind of wrapping around some of the plastic ends there. Again, just keep wrapping this, and then you're going to exactly do what you saw me do before. You are going to fold that half into the kind of center, and you are going to cut the string. It is crazy. All right, now I will go ahead and fast forward a little bit. All right, so now that you've got your kind of half, or you've got your full kind of circle here, now you're going to take another piece of yarn and go ahead and just cut off a piece of yarn. And it's funny, this chenille yarn is so thin. You are going to cut off that piece of yarn, put it to the side, and then the slit that's kind of in the center there, you are going to take a pair of scissors and just kind of work your way through, and you're going to be cutting each side of the yarn. And the kind of tool that you're using here to make these pom-poms, that actually helps keep everything in place, which is kind of crazy. And I do recommend having a nice sharp pair of scissors. These are brand new scissors, and they did not cut very well through this, so I was kind of disappointed in this. But you're going to go ahead and cut through, and you're going to cut through on both sides, so both of the half circles. So hopefully that is making sense here. And it's going slow because I am literally trying everything to cut through this yarn, including grabbing another pair of scissors. And now that you've got both sides cut, then you're going to take your yarn or your piece of string that you cut off, and you're going to kind of work it through the opening there. It kind of looks like a yo-yo. And then you're going to pull this really tight, but don't pull it so tight that you bust it like I did, but that's okay. It still ended up just holding fine. Then you are going to start to unwrap each side, which is kind of crazy. But as you see, when you start to kind of pull it apart, you are going to get your pom-pom shape. And then you just start fluffing and cutting away. This is crazy how this works. I just knew this was going to completely fall off. So you're going to kind of take each side. As you see, it's kind of two pieces there. And then in the center here, you're going to grab the two pieces and you're going to separate your tool. It's going to feel like you're breaking the tool, but you're really not. Look how fun this is. Now, I will say this chenille yarn is not great to do pom-poms with because it ends up getting really, really fuzzy and almost kind of cloudy looking. However, for the idea that I had with this kind of works into my favor a little bit, and I'll show you that in just a second. So you're going to take your pom-pom, you're going to kind of trim it up, and as you can see, again, with that chenille yarn, this little sucker is getting really hairy looking, but that's okay. Hang with me here for just a second. So now that we've got that all trimmed up, look, when you blow this, like, look how much fuzz just kind of flies everywhere. Doesn't it remind you of kind of like a pussy willow flower? Well, that was kind of my intention in doing this. So let's go ahead and clean all this up, and then I'm going to show you what else we're going to do with this. All right, so I had some crochet needles, and I also had these kind of pipe cleaners. I ended up not using the pipe cleaners. I'm also going to incorporate the flowers, and I'm also going to incorporate those socks into this DIY, because remember, those socks were one of the challenge items, and then I've got this really cute vase. So I'm going to go ahead and take my tulips. We're going to go ahead and separate those. We're going to get all these lovely little tags off of here, and we're going to simply just kind of put those aside for right now. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and take the wooden crochet needle, and I'm just going to go ahead and stick one down inside the vase there. I'm going to add some hot glue onto the end of it because I want to use this wooden kind of crochet tool as a stem for my pussy willow, aka my pom-pom that I made here. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of stick that down inside. By the way, I did trim off the end of that crochet needle just a little bit. And so now I've got my tulips in there, and now I've got a cute little pussy willow in here, but I do need to incorporate the socks somehow. And so I was thinking that I would do something really uncharacteristic for myself, and I would cut up a perfectly good pair of socks, because this is the mystery box challenge and I've got to use these socks somehow. By the way, I thought that I had these Monopoly socks already, and I don't. So this was definitely kind of sad for me to do, because you guys know how I love socks. Now, I noticed as I was cutting up this fabric that the socks ended up rolling, and that's just because of the elastic that is in there, but no worries. I went ahead and cut these into squares, and then I very simply just took a lot of hot glue and just kind of glued these squares together, or glued them to where they would be somewhat flat together, to where I had something that looked like this. And so now I'm going to take those squares after the glue has dried, and we're going to kind of trim them up to kind of cut them into leaf shapes. And now I've got 4 of them total that I'm going to be making. That way I have 4 little leaves when they're all said and done. All right, you guys, this is what everything looks like when it's done. I love the way this looks. That pom-pom definitely reminds me of like a pussy willow. I love that I was able to incorporate the socks into my leaves for this. And you have a cute little spring arrangement that is super festive. And if you had the patience to make a whole bunch of these pom-poms, you could do an entire arrangement made with these pom-poms. What do you guys think? All right, now for this next DIY, I have to incorporate this really cute Noah's Ark tray. 100% legit confess here, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to paint this. I actually want to re-gift the tray to a friend of mine who is having a baby, lives here in the neighborhood. She's doing an entire nursery of Noah's Ark kind of theme. She would love this. And so I did not want to mess this up at all. And I kind of think I came up with a really, really cute idea for a DIY. Now I can incorporate the moss that I was sent in my box from Lisa. And then I've also got some rocks here that we're going to incorporate. I've got a little bit of rocks left. I've also got my outdoor element, which are some twigs, and I've got some faux succulents here. Now the twigs, they did come from Dollar Tree, but let's face it, we can all go outside and hack out a couple twigs off of a tree and you can totally recreate this. So this is my something from nature checkbox here. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of arrange all of these pieces into the tray. Now, I was thinking originally that the rocks kind of look really cool because they are part of nature. And then you've got the twigs, of course, which are also part of nature. And then you've got the blue that you kind of see peeking there that is part of the ark that was already painted there. And it kind of reminds me of like some water peeking through there. And I was thinking like with the succulents and everything, I would just make a really cool kind of tabletop Noah's Ark. And what's really cool about this too is honestly, I could actually gift this to my friend exactly the way this is. And I think that she would really like it. Now, of course, you know, once the baby got here, then she could use this for something else. But how fun would this be to actually gift somebody something like this? And then they'd have a lot of versatility with this. Now, you know, the DIY purifiers out there, they'll be like, you should have painted it, you should have done this, but I didn't want to do it. That's what a DIY is for, right? A DIY is for something that you want to do yourself that makes you happy. And I really love the way that this is starting to come together. So I've got my green element off to the side there. I've got my rocks. I've got the blue with the water. I've got some twigs for nature. And then we're going to go ahead and add in some of these faux succulents. And I'm going to kind of trim some of these up. But when it's all said and done, this is how it looks on the dresser. Super, super cute. Really love the way that this looks and am super happy. And I know my friend is going to love this. All right, everybody, confession time now. It is time to use my planters here. And I love these planters. I've had the larger ones before. I've planted herbs in them outside. They stack. They're super, super great. The smaller ones also, by the way, do not have any drainage holes in them. I can't remember if the larger ones had drainage holes or not. But what's so great about them is that without those drainage holes, they will hold water. So if you did want to kind of do a fountain or something like that, you certainly could. Now, I've also got a mess of a desk caddy. I don't really have a desk caddy on my desk. This is kind of the look behind the scenes here. And I was thinking, why not arrange some of this and get this a little more organized? Now, the actual planter parts of this is too small to hold like a mason jar or anything like that. And I will recommend to you highly that you weigh down the middle of this. So what I ended up ultimately doing with this, you can see here, I tried to put a jar in the middle and it just wasn't going to work. And that was even one of the smaller like plastic Dollar Tree jars. Now, tools of different sizes and shapes will fit in here perfectly fine. You do want to weigh down the middle of this because if you don't, this is going to topple over and you will see that mine is getting a little wobbly. But once I did kind of weigh it down, I just put some rocks down in the bottom of it and then just kind of spaced around my tools. But look how easy this becomes a craft kind of DIY caddy for your tools, for your pens, your markers, all the things in the craft room. And this I thought was kind of a clever, easy DIY. Super, super easy and super practical. Now for this one, you guys may remember that I was sent two of these kind of metal signs. I've got this one and I've got a tulip flower one that I've got another DIY coming up for. So for this particular one, I'm also going to go back to that chenille yarn, and we're going to go ahead and just hang or use a piece of this yellow yarn to go ahead and hang this sign. Now, the other fun thing that I really loved about this particular sign is that it's got that little bird on the inside. And fun fact, so my grandma Dorothy, you guys know her as Grandma Dot. I did a custom kind of cookbook cover for one of her old cookbooks, but anytime I see kind of a little bird, especially like a little bluebird, I just kind of think about my Grandma Dot for some reason. And I'm going to go ahead and use this in that wildflower wreath. Now, you guys may remember I made this wildflower wreath for my front door using a Dollar Tree steering wheel cover. And I just thought that this would be really beautiful on the inside, and it would be just a bright pop of color. I loved the stainless that would be in there as well. And I wanted to be able to just kind of incorporate this into that wildflower wreath that I made for the front door. I really love the way that these kind of come together, and I love how it just kind of nestles perfectly in within those wildflowers. I think my Grandma Dot would also really love this. Right, so this next one, this one I knew I couldn't, kind of not cheat my way out of it, but, I wanted to do something a little different with this one. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut this awful twine off of here. This is the thickest, most rattiest twine. I don't know what Dollar Tree was thinking with this. It is like hairy. It is really, really scary looking. So we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to also go ahead and take off the little sticker that Lisa put on there. She's so good about just labeling everything. I had no question about where any of this is. Now I've got my yarn here, which we are going to definitely incorporate into this. But before we do all of that, we have to start painting this. And I am going to cut up a bunch of sponges, and we are going to pull out just some fun spring colors. And this is just acrylic paint, by the way. And I am going to go ahead and just start using the sponge to just kind of dab some of this paint onto the front and the back side of this flower. Now, you can do this in any kind of color or any kind of pattern. I'm going to use a sponge piece kind of for each individual color. And then I'm going to take one sponge piece and we are going to start to kind of blend all of these lines together. And again, you're going to do this on both sides. Now, the great thing about this is you do not have to worry about complete coverage with this, because what's so great about this is that stainless that this is actually made of, you're going to get some fun pops of that kind of silvery color in between some of those color kind of splotches that you've got there that you're creating kind of with the sponge paint. So no worries about this at all. I'm telling you guys, when this is all done, take this outside, hang this up on your front porch like I've got here, and it looks like a sun catcher. It just reminds me of that because the sun is bouncing off the silver. You've got the bright colors on there. And by the way, this is also hanging up by two other things that I made for my front porch. That's that stainless or stained glass angel that you see, that I actually made for my grandmother Dot. I made that for her, and when she passed away, I was able to get that back. And then the ball that you see there, the glass ball, I actually did that in a glass blowing class. So it's just kind of a fun, just kind of a couple little fun, bright things to kind of put on the front porch. They're not very overpowering. They're just very simple. And again, I loved the way that these looked. All right, you guys, now I know you are wondering what the heck I was going to do with this challenge item. This one definitely stumped me, but as I kind of kept looking at it, I thought, well, let's go ahead and just kind of go ahead and trim this up, because there was a couple little pieces that were not broken, but I think it was probably something that I did. So we're going to go ahead and take this backing off, and this is where the batteries go, because this is actually something that is battery operated, and apparently makes a lot of noise, kind of like a saw would, or a Dollar Tree version of a little saw. But I'm going to go ahead and remove that because I'm going to use the back or the battery pack kind of hole to use that as a hanger. So for this next part here, I did want to go ahead and also kind of remove this handle here because it's not really necessary. And I pried this thing, and it was not going to come off of here. I was shocked at how well this was hanging on because, as you know, sometimes with some of this Dollar Tree stuff, like it will come apart pretty easily. And this little sucker was putting up a fight. And when I say it was putting up a fight, I am not joking. I even took this pair of pliers and was wedging it in there. It was not moving. So ultimately what I ended up doing was taking a pair of scissors and going through and just slicing away that plastic until that little arm was completely gone off of there. All right, so now that I've got this little contraption all ready to go, I took this outside and I spray painted it black. Now, you're probably wondering, what the heck are you doing with this thing, Jamie? Well, I thought it kind of had a cool kind of industrial vibe, and I did take some rub and buff, and I'm taking the silver rub and buff, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of rub and buff this with the silver. I will say I don't think that this with the silver turned out as good as I would have liked it. I think I would have liked it to stay black, but I wanted to at least kind of be true to what I did do so you guys would see it. It started off really good, and then I think I just kind of went a little crazy with the rub and buff. I would love to know what you guys think, of course. And just kind of, I just didn't stop. I probably should have stopped here. And yeah, I didn't paint that one side, but that's okay because it's going up against the wall. I know you guys are thinking, well, Jamie, what do you mean this is going up against the wall? Well, let me show you. I turned this into an industrial hook in my closet. Look at this. This is a coat hook. So now I can put a jacket, I can put a lightweight jacket or a blazer or something on it. And look how cool it looks when it's just on the wall. I love the way that this looks, and I think I handled this challenge item. What do you guys think?